So this one's kind of a doozy. Let's take a look. When in doubt, first thing you should always do is factor. So the numerator there, I can't do anything with that, but the denominator I can factor. It's going to look something like this, with x's there, and in fact, if you think back to that thing I know, which I think is in the notes for this week, I'll check, looks like that. That's an a squared minus b squared, because 1 and 1 squared are the same. So if you happen to know that trick, that's easy enough to factor. The numerator over here can't be factored, but the denominator, once again, can. It's going to look, again, something like this. X with an X. And then we want these two things here to multiply to make positive 1, but add to make negative 2. And the things that do that trick are negative 1, negative 1. And if you need review factoring, that would be a good thing to do, but I'm not going to do that in this video. And now I see I have these two fractions with factored denominators, and I need to subtract them. Whenever adding or subtracting fractions, you need a least common denominator, an LCD. And this is true if you're doing it with numbers or with these awful, terrible, big expressions. And it looks to me like the LCD would be an x plus 1, x minus 1, x minus 1. And I got that because I need something that all of these factors will go into. So x plus 1, x minus 1 captures the left, and the x minus 1, x minus 1 captures the right. So altogether it captures everything, which means that if I'm going to rewrite these with the common denominators will be x plus 1, x minus 1, x minus 1. I'm writing a little bit quickly, sorry. And x plus 1, x minus 1, x minus 1. Alright. That's just, if you can't read that, that's just what I said the LCD was. But in order to get this denominator here, I'm going to have to multiply it by x minus 1. I know that because this guy has one extra x minus 1. But what I do to the bottom of the fraction, I got to do the top, no exceptions. So I'm going to multiply the top by x minus 1. You might want to distribute now, fine. That's an extra step in your head. I'm not going to do that. We'll do that second. Same thing with the bottom. Here I have an x plus 1 that's not found on this bottom. So here we're going to have to multiply by x plus 1. What I do to the bottom, I got to do the top. And that's going to leave me on the top 5 times x plus 1 with a minus sign in the middle. And now that I have common denominators, I can rewrite the whole thing with that common denominator. X minus 1, x minus 1. And in the numerator, I'll have just x times x minus 1 minus 5 times x plus 1. And now, you could have distributed earlier if you wanted, but now I'm going to distribute, which looks something like that. So that's going to be, once again, that awful denominator, x plus 1, x minus 1, x minus 1. X times x is x squared. X times negative 1 is negative x. Here I'm going to distribute this, the negative 5, which will give me minus 5x, because negative 5 times x is negative 5x, and negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. And then all I have to do is combine like terms, which will give me an x squared, negative 5 minus 5x is negative 6x minus 5 all over x plus 1, x minus 1, x minus 1, and then you'll think, oh, I'm done, hooray! But no, like I said before, when in doubt, factor, and in fact, you should be in a little bit of doubt. So now we're going to take this beast of the top and factor, and it's going to look something like x squared, x times something with an x in it, and we need these things here to multiply together to make negative 5, but add together to make negative 6. Oh, in this case I can't think of anything that does the trick. So it looks like bullet dodged. We don't have to factor it. In which case this is our final answer.